What's up, guys? Spine here, coming to talk to you again about this week in the Mortal Kombat X online beta. Now, the first thing you'll notice here is that we've got the full vanilla cast available this week, which now begs the question, since we have the entire vanilla cast available, will they start making DLC characters available in the coming weeks? Personally, I hope they do, because I've always wanted to try Tremor out on a responsive netcode. You'll also notice we've got some new maps, particularly the Deadwoods, which has an interesting little thing I've discovered that's occurring with certain brutalities that are performed on it. As you can see here, we got Shinnok going in, and then BOOM! Whole background goes black. Now, I don't know if this is a bug or a glitch, or if this is something that they're trying to pepper in to see how people react to full background removal brutalities. I actually personally like it. I think it makes the brutalities pop a little more, and I'm kind of hoping this is something that's going to stick around. Now next, I want to talk about how the netcode's faring this week, and unfortunately it's not faring as good as it was in the past couple weeks. I'm getting a lot more of responsiveness errors with it. I'm having a few combos drop because the move is just not reading and coming out, and this has happened on more than a few occasions, and it's just not as good as it was in these last few weeks. Additionally, I'm having a few more problems going on with games desyncing or dropping. Notably this one here that we've got where if you look, it's operating at a not a decent ping in the low mid hundreds, and then suddenly in the middle of the match, and without any real warning, it desyncs and I'm disconnected from the opponent and I have to go back to the menu screen. Now this gets more than a little frustrating, especially on games that were playing just fine. I didn't have any issues with response times in that game or the connection in general. Now, something I have noticed in regards to the responsiveness of the netcode is that the worse ping a matchup has, the worse the responsiveness seems to be. And I think this is because they're trying to put in a dynamic input delay for the bad ping matchups. Typically, this is something that games like Skullgirls, again, for example, usually allows you to manually set the input delay. So if you want it to be very responsive but have a choppy game, or if you want it to be slightly less responsive but you're going to have a smooth flowing game. Now, I appreciate the effort and the goodwill of trying to alleviate that from us and give us, a smooth experience with responsive play, but it's not working out the best so far, and I think they ought to implement a system for us to manually decide on our input delay if we want any at all. That all being said, I do have to reiterate that even on its bad days, the responsiveness of this beta netcode is still better than what we have going on in the current version of Mortal Kombat X. So if worse comes to worse, this is still going to be improvement on what we have. However, NetherRealm has stated that they're going to be collecting data for as long as they need to, and I highly doubt that this is going to be the last week of the beta, and I think that by the end of it, they're going to have I personally think this beta is going to run into the release of Mortal Kombat XL, and I think they're going to and they'll probably collect data for a week or two after that until they can finalize the netcode and give us the best package they can possibly deliver. Which, nothing wrong with that. I can deal with waiting a little longer for a better final product. I think we can all agree on that. Now, next thing I want to talk about is the characters and how the community's kind of been dealing with them in the beta. And this is something that I'm guilty of myself, is that even with all the new characters and changes we're getting, we're still kind of sticking to our old mains. I've tried a little bit of Master of Storm's Raiden just to see what he feels like, but other than that, I'm still sticking to my usual 3, sometimes 4 guys, and I'm noticing a lot of people, they're still, I'm still seeing Kung Lao every other match, I'm still seeing Sub-Zero every other match. The only thing that I've seen kind of in addition to this is a few people are testing out Aaron Black to see what's happening with him, and a few more people are throwing in some Devora there, but I'm not seeing the swarms of people who are going to start maining Ferritor like I've heard about online, and the one guy who I have seen play Ferritor was playing Lackey. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of this, but I think it's something that NetherRealm should look at, because even with all the changes they've put in, we still aren't really gravitating to characters that we weren't using, especially on the day of the patch release, I didn't see anyone who was trying out any of the new characters they added in. It was everyone still using the same ones they've been using for the past few weeks. Now, this can imply a few things. That the buffs and changes given to the characters that weren't being used weren't significant enough to kind of warrant our interest, or that what was done to the current meta of characters really wasn't enough to have us dissuaded from using them. As I stated, I'm still running into Kung Lao all the time because he's still good. There's the minor change of his EX spin now sucking you in on block for a little better punishment options, but other than that, he's still completely good. And I can't really blame players for not wanting to drop their mains. I feel bad about doing it just as bad as anyone else, but I would like some incentive to try out new characters other than the Combat Pack 2 characters we have coming in. So overall, even though the changes that are going to be in Mortal Kombat XL are already finalized for characters, I'm just kind of hoping that this is not going to be the final iteration of the characters for Mortal Kombat X and that we see some additional balance and character changes down the road. Ideally, I would like to see it as there being support and balance changes for this game for the next few years, even into the release of Injustice 2, whenever that gets announced and released. So, for more updates and impressions on the Mortal Kombat X Online Beta, keep it tuned here. I will catch you guys later.